Hey, everybody, I'm Pastor Darren with the Grace Centered Podcast, and I am the pastor of Grace Gospel Fellowship and the CEO of Grace Centers of Hope. And we are so glad that you are tuning in today to listen or watch the Grace Centered Podcast. We've got a great podcast for you, a great story that I think is going to sort of blow you away on what God is able to do, and really probably what speaks to the faith that he can really give somebody to get through the worst of possible times. And so this is Kylleen, who has been a friend of Grace Centers of Hope for many, many years, and just has, as I said, an incredible story of faith and forgiveness, and just I can't really, my words can't do it justice other than just you sharing your story. So I'll let you just kind of. So at one point you worked at Grace Centers of Hope and have been part of our church for many years, and so I'm just going to let you tell your story,
Okay.
and they can hear it for themselves.
Back in 1991, I was a single mom. I was raised in a large family, 8 kids. We went to Catholic school, 12 years of Catholic school, all girls Catholic high school. I was raised with an abundance. My family was very close, and I was divorced. My children were 12 and 15. I worked in a dentist office, just a normal person, you know. I was not, I was just a normal single
Whatever
girl
that is.
out there looking for, the next guy. Basically, my boyfriend was murdered, stabbed. It didn't take the police very long to center on me as their suspect. However, I didn't know it for a while, for about 3 days. So I spent a lot of time with the police, talking to them. I wanted them to catch who had done this. He had been stabbed and his house was set on fire. And I didn't realize that I was their suspect until it was way too late. So I didn't even ask for a lawyer, and even after I did ask for a lawyer, I still met with them because I had a stalker who was a boyfriend, a previous boyfriend, who would not leave, would just keep following me and showing up at my house and showing up at my work. So it was kind of a weird time in my life. After my boyfriend had been murdered, my life took on a very, the police were following me. The stalker was following me. I was under so much stress. I didn't even know what to do. The police got a warrant for my blood, and at that point I thought, oh, this is good. My blood won't match the blood they found. And as it turned out, they really didn't find any blood, so there was nothing to compare it to. It was just like a ruse to try to get me to confess. They did many, many things like that. They spoke to my children when I weren't there. They spoke to my neighbors. They came to my work. It was more like they were stalking me than I had a stalker. Yeah. So at one day, I remember being in my parking lot at work, coming out of work, and my stalker was there, and he had me cornered in. And meanwhile, I find out that across the street were the police watching this whole thing and did nothing to help me. I got in my car and I drove across the lawn and got away.
Wow.
It was just a horrible, stressful time in my life.
So, your boyfriend is brutally murdered.
Yes.
And you're for 3 days, you're just helping him and everything.
Hours and hours.
What led to you realizing they think I did this?
Well, he came across the table at me and said, all right, you need to confess now. And I was dumbfounded. I couldn't believe it. So my sister came down to the police station while I was there and was talking to the other policemen. And they told her, this was the very first day, they told her that he had been stabbed. but the police never told me. So when I got it with my sister, she had told me. So I told other people.
Okay.
And by doing that, the police thought I knew that he had been stabbed, and they never told me. Now, this police officer never admitted
Oh, wow.
and never came out that he had told my sister this. And he kept it to himself throughout everything. I mean, I was in prison. He never came forward and said that he had told my sister this.
Yeah.
So he led his sergeant to believe that I knew something I didn't know. I wasn't supposed to know.
Wow. So, okay, yeah. So then this guy reaches over the table, basically like tries to get you to confess.
Yes,
You don't,
I don't.
obviously.
I
so
practically fainted in there.
oh, I bet. I can only imagine just like the weight in shadow that would cast over your
So at that
heart.
point, I was just a mess. I was just a mess.
And then how long did that kind of go on?
Okay, so this happened in October. They stalked me until June. I wasn't arrested until June.
8 months
They had
later,
no
they finally...
evidence against me. They took my coat. They took my clothes, all my shoes. They tested everything. They took the door off my car. Wow. There was nothing. There was not a speck, nothing.
And so then what happened in June? I mean, what...
So the police officer was determined that I had done it. So he went to the victim's neighbors, and he came across this woman who said that she saw me in my car driving at a high rate of speed at 5 o'clock in the morning in October, which is pitch dark, in the rain, going in the opposite direction at a high rate of speed. And after 6 visits with her, the police finally got her to look at pictures and say that she saw me.
Wow.
And there was absolutely, I mean, if you sit in a car and try to see somebody's face going the other way in a car in the rain, you could then. Yeah. So once they had this witness, then they could arrest me.
Yeah. And so, that was it had already started this,
they had
the craziest of events. But
they had a fingernail that they got from my garbage because I did my own nails. And this fingernail had a dent in it or something. And they thought that this fingernail, because the victim had a scratch on him at some point, I guess.
My goodness.
So they assumed that was from this fingernail, which...
So it was basically this woman who sees you in the rain, in the dark, at a high rate of speed.
Going in the opposite direction.
Yeah, identifies you. And then, so what did they show? That was all they needed. And then they show up to your house one day? Or
no,
what did they do?
I was on my way to work in my neighborhood, and they pulled me over. It was like a SWAT team arrived to arrest this wanted criminal. There was probably 20 policemen with their guns drawn. And here I was in my car, like looking for my driver's license, thinking I'm going to get a speeding ticket.
Right.
And I looked up, and it was
not a speeding ticket.
Not a speeding ticket. So at that point, they took me to Wayne County Jail. And, I'm a white girl from the suburbs.
Never been in trouble.
I'd never been in trouble. I didn't even know a black person. I mean, I didn't even know anyone, anybody that
was in trouble.
With the law. I didn't know anyone. It was
a rude awakening.
I got a nickname at the jail. They called me the prom queen. So that kind of explains what it was like.
Yeah.
So,
but this creates a whole series of crazy events, right? Which is really where the story.
Yeah. I told you I was raised a Catholic, so I knew there was a God. I knew that he was probably really pissed at me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I had slept around. I had been, I had gotten a divorce. I just wasn't an upstanding human being morally. I just was. I grew up in the 60s and 70s, so
everybody's doing it.
Yeah, drugs, sex, and rock and roll. That was it. So it was hard. I got to the county, and I didn't know what to do. I was scared out of my wits. The ride down there with, 2 other criminals was just, I mean, I thought I was going to die.
Yeah. And it's not like you're in there for the first time with retail fraud or something where you stole something. You're in there for first degree
They
murder.
all know. They think I'm a murderer.
So yeah, you're in
So
maximum
I'm
security.
in max. I'm in with other real murderers.
Yeah. So what do you remember what you were thinking at that time?
At
Like it
that
began
point,
to settle in, maybe?
Then you could smoke in the county jail, and I had cigarettes. So
You were a
it
big
was
deal.
like,
The prom queen.
the prom queen has cigarettes. So I made friends with people. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to get along. As it turned out, some of them turned out to be my friends for many, many years. So it was a rude awakening, but it opened my eyes to what other people in this world, are, that I'm just like them. They're just like me. I was no better. In fact, I was a lot worse off than some. Just was a time when I just fell on my knees. I didn't know what to do. I didn't really pick up a Bible or do anything, but I was praying, and one of the other inmates wanted me to go to a religious service. Well, there's just, it's the only way you get out of your cell. So, okay, and they give you coffee. So there was 2 pluses. Okay, I'm going to go. So I went, and during this service, one of the people that was in this area with me, who was arrested for murder, sang a song. And it was during this song that I felt the Lord touch my heart. And I'm not saying in a small way. I just felt him. I felt his presence. I wasn't expecting anything like that, but I knew that something happened. I knew. I felt it. I felt him. I can't even describe it. It's not, I just knew in my heart that God had this, that I was okay, that I was going to be okay. So after that, my mom sent me some prayer books. My mom was always trying to get me to go to church and, be a good Catholic girl. And so she was quite happy that I was praying. And so her and I started having a little closer relationship, and I started to pray, and I started to believe, and I started to read the Bible, and I started with Psalm 17, which is the Psalm of the innocent man. And once I read that, he had me. He had me. It was it was like he was speaking to me. Wow. He was speaking to my heart, that he would vindicate me, that my vindication would come from him, not from anyone else. So I kept that Bible close to me. I didn't let go of it. I read it every day as much as I could. I was seeking him. I didn't really know what else to do. And then I came across a scripture, Mark 11:22. I got to go there because it's important. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Yeah.
Should have been more prepared here.
Oh, that's okay. Mark 11:22.
Okay.
It's highlighted.
Have faith in God.
Yeah.
Jesus answered, I tell you the truth. If anyone says to this mountain, go throw yourself into the sea, and does not doubt in his heart, but believes what he says will happen, it will be done for him. Therefore, I tell you, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it, and it will be yours. And when you stand praying, if you hold anything against anyone, forgive him, so that your Father in heaven may forgive you your sins. So this said to me that if God was really God, and this was the word of God, and that this was true, that I could ask God to deliver me from the county jail. Mm-hmm. That's what I asked him for. Yeah. That was my prayer, that he would deliver me, get me out of this jail. And, this was a first-degree murder. There was no bond for first-degree murder.
Yeah, there's no
There
bond.
was no way I was getting out.
Wasn't about getting
It
money.
wasn't about, no. There was just no way this was going to happen. And lo and behold, about 2 months in, my lawyer came to me and said, "We got a bond hearing."
Really?
I said, "I know." So we got the bond hearing. My dad came to the hearing with a check for $15,000. He had sold my house, and that was all that was left. Oh, no, that was something else. He sold my house for my appeal lawyer.
Yeah.
So he had a check for $15,000. And as it turned out, my bond was for $150,000. 10% down was 15,000. So my dad paid my bond, and I left the county jail, and I thought that this was it. This was my miracle. God had delivered me. I could go on with my life. There was no, I never, ever, ever felt like I thought it was over. I thought this was it.
You were like, somehow the justice system has to work.
Yeah, I knew it was going to work. I wasn't worried.
Obviously you believe in your, like, I believe you, that God intervened, because I've also watched more of this story in real time. But what was their reason, humanly speaking, just in the flesh, as to why they were giving you a bond hearing and why it would be 10% of 150,000? I mean, did they
know.
Was
to
your
this day I don't know.
Was your lawyer arguing that there's it's hard to show that there's going to be any evidence in this,
there
or something?
There was a lack of evidence,
because nobody gets
sure.
I mean, it is so rare that
Darren,
a first-degree
I
murder.
can't even explain it. I can't explain it other than that God did this miracle for me. I really can't.
Yeah,
This is one the first of many. Well, the first one was saving me.
Yeah.
This was the second of many miracles.
Yeah.
Many.
So you're out.
I'm out.
You're out.
I go right back to my old life.
Okay. All right.
Found the next boyfriend. Moved right on. Moved in with him. Just
Still living in the same area?
Still living in the same area. Collecting unemployment basically because my job had, they didn't want me to come back to work there.
And you're still being charged. I mean, I'm
still charged.
Yeah.
So I have to go down and meet with the marshals.
Okay.
I was out on bond, yeah. So it was
But to get a job too. I mean,
I couldn't get a job because I was awaiting this trial. So that once the trial was over, then I figured I would get a job, and So I didn't have a lawyer. All I had was my divorce lawyer. That was it. And he wasn't a criminal lawyer. So my new boyfriend was a policeman.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
You'd think that you'd lost all hope.
I know. He was a sergeant in Plymouth at the time, and his cousin was a criminal attorney.
Okay.
So the term where you don't get anything for nothing.
Yeah.
That's what I got for a lawyer.
Yeah.
He was he did nothing.
He was doing a favor, kind of.
He was doing a favor. There was no evidence. He thought they had to prove I was guilty, and that's really not how it works.
Yeah.
They don't have to prove anything. He didn't talk to one person. He didn't interview one person. He didn't go to the crime scene. He didn't do any investigation at all. Which is basically down the line one of the reasons why I got out.
Right.
Both my attorneys came to the hearing, and the federal judge asked them, "Why didn't you do anything?"
Yeah.
He goes, he on the stand, he said, "Well, I was cocky.
Yeah.
I just didn't think we needed to."
I think I remember that.
Yeah.
Because that was in Flint.
Yeah, that was in Flint.
Yeah.
And
so basically, why don't you? So this attorney.
So I'm out on bond for all this time. So we go for 1 day of trial, and then 2 months later we go for another day of trial. And then halfway through that, the judge has to go shopping or take her kids somewhere. So, we'd come back 2 days later, a week later, so it was very scattered and not cohesive. It wasn't like a trial like you see on TV. It was like they had one person here and one person there. And then we get to the end of the prosecution, and my guy rests. He doesn't do anything.
Well, didn't he before that too? He told you that you shouldn't do a trial by jury. You should do.
No. He said that there's no evidence against you, no real evidence. He said, and so instead of letting them bring a dog and pony show, you should go with a bench trial. The judge will look at real evidence, and she will know.
So you're just
so I'm just going hook, line, and sinker. I didn't have any idea what to do. So that's basically what happened. We went with a bench trial, and
that shouldn't even be lawful.
It shouldn't be lawful.
To be convicted
it
of
just
first
was.
degree.
It was horrendous, really.
Yeah, I don't know why a lawyer would. I mean, I'm no lawyer.
Well,
so.
He wasn't really a great lawyer, so.
But why would you leave it in the hands of one person?
He was friends with a lot of people down at the courthouse. I just think he thought.
He had it whipped, yeah.
That he had it. And then, somebody didn't get paid. I don't know.
So what was that like? So he rests. He
rests.
Doesn't even cross-examine, or he doesn't even present his own case.
They did a preemptory thing where they asked the judge to dismiss the case because of lack of evidence.
Yeah.
And she said no. So this should have told him.
Yeah, that was
right
the
there
first.
That there was a problem, and it didn't. So we rested. It was another shoot. It was months and months before we came back to hear the verdict.
Before she brought back the verdict.
Yes. So my whole family came. It was a Friday night. It was probably 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock in November of '93.
6 or 7. Oh, the 6th or 7th of November.
November of '93. He was murdered in October of '91.
So yeah, you were in. Yeah, it had been like a year and a half since you had been first arrested.
Yeah. And so my whole family's there. Everyone, my ex-husband, my oldest son, and she's reading, and she leaves the bench and she goes back and she comes back and she's reading and reading and reading. And finally I hear my sister crying. And I'm thinking, what the heck? Why is Marianne crying? And here it turns out that she found me guilty. And it was, I would say, Darren, it was like an out-of-body experience. I don't really remember anything other than just like looking at everyone thinking, oh my God, there's all these guards that came in to the courtroom and they were all standing around me. And I knew that this was it.
I mean, when you went to court that day,
no.
were you, I mean,
no.
You were extremely
I did not think
confident.
I was going to be staying. I really didn't. No. So, and when I was convicted,
so right there, she,
that was it.
but you're not sentenced.
I don't ever remember her saying she found me guilty.
Really?
But if you read the transcripts,
you remember not leaving.
I remember not leaving because they handcuffed me and they took me and put me in a room by myself where they hold people before they testify or whatever. I don't know what it was. And
the docket or the dock there.
It was. I just was in there for what seemed like hours, but I don't know. I was just.
Gosh.
I was just a mess. So then they took me back to the county jail.
And this time, you're not fighting for a bond. This time, you actually have been convicted.
At this point, I am just dumbfounded. I had been on Ativan.
Okay.
Because I had heart palpitations because of all the stress of all this. So
sure.
I had a bottle of Ativan in my purse. I put it in my pocket. My family took my purse. And I kept it in my pocket. I got to the county jail, and I had planned to take my life because in my mind, I thought my sons would be better off saying that their mom was dead.
Yeah.
Than to say that she was in prison.
Yeah. How old were they at the time?
They were
then?
12 and 15.
Wow.
So they were like just becoming teenagers. And my son had already gone through a lot in high school because his friends
Yeah.
were saying things like, your mom's going to be fried.
Yeah.
It was horrible for them. So that's all I could think of was them, and that how hard this was for them and my family.
And
Sorry.
oh yeah, you're fine. So yeah, at that point, the Lord had spoken to your heart. You had begun to read the Bible. Of course, you went back to kind of your old life while you're on
So
bond.
I thought, oh, he's really mad at me now.
Yeah.
He knew that I was a fake.
Yeah.
Basically, I was a fake.
And so, yeah. So now you're back in Wayne County Jail.
I'm back in Wayne County Jail,
And
but
this
I
time-
can't even feed myself.
Yeah, waiting to be sentenced.
It had to be an angel, because someone came and fed me and took care of me for about, I don't know, 3-4 days before I remember anything.
Wow.
I remember taking the pills and deciding, that I couldn't leave my sons like that.
Yeah.
I just
Oh,
couldn't.
because they didn't take them from you.
No.
Oh wow.
So I went and gave them to the officer, and I decided that this was it. So it was about another, I don't know, month. I spent Christmas in the county. It was right after Christmas. They took me to Scott's Correctional Facility, which is gone now. It's no more. Out in Plymouth. And that was a long drive out there. We got to the prison, and I was put into quarantine. Basically, I at that point in prison, you could wear your clothes. I didn't even have a coat. They didn't give me a coat to wear until I got to the prison. They put me into Essex, which is the level 5 prison within a prison. It had barbed wire around it. Inside the prison walls, it had gates, and it had bars on the windows, and each prisoner was locked in a cell by herself. And there was a toilet in each room. So basically, you could exist in there and not ever see another prisoner.
Right.
It was like segregation, basically. But you got out at lunchtime, you got out at dinner time and breakfast, and you walked to the cafeteria in a single file and came back. And then they let all the rest of the units go and eat. But during this time, I met my best friend, who was in prison. At that time, you could get life for drugs.
Right.
She had 650 grams of marijuana, and she was caught driving back from Florida with it. She got 2 life sentences for that.
Wow.
And so she was this little black lady. Her name was Melvina, and her and I were like, we were like hanging together. Yeah. We clung to each other, and I didn't know anyone. She didn't know anyone. But when we got into this Essex, is what we called this area. When we got in there, it was women who looked like men.
Yeah.
For some reason, was not, what we were expecting, but it was frightening. Once I got into my room, I basically got on my knees. I got on my laid flat on the ground, and I started to pray. And I prayed. I prayed night and day. I didn't know what was going to happen to me. I spent about 2 weeks in Essex.
Okay.
What didn't take them very long to figure out I didn't belong there.
Yeah.
So they moved me out into general population along with my friend Malvina, and we stayed together. We went to general population, and we started to see more normal human beings.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was frightening, to say the least, but I prayed and prayed, and at that point I just decided that I would really do this. I would really embrace the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
Because I just thought that, I wasn't going to make it on my own in there.
Mm-hmm.
That unless God helped me, I wasn't going to make it. Not life with. When you get letters instead of numbers for a sentence, there's no hope. There's no light at the end of the tunnel. There's no parole. There's no. You're there. That's it.
Yeah.
That's your life now for the rest of your life.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided that the only life that I really wanted was one with him. I didn't want to be part of prison. I didn't want to be there. I didn't want to. I would just stay a Christian and just be that. That was what I was going to be for the rest of my life in there. And he and I had an agreement that unless he did something, I was there. That was it. I was there forever.
And it's got to be hard enough to come to that place being guilty. For a person who knows they've done I'm here forever.
Up until that point, I always thought they were gonna do it right. Was gonna come. Something was gonna happen to get me out of this because I wasn't guilty. This can't happen.
Yeah, not in America.
This doesn't happen. And then I found out it happens a lot. It happens to a lot.
Yeah, so like when you were in there and you would tell people, but I didn't do it.
Sure. You didn't do it. Yeah, so everybody there didn't do it. So
it just falls on deaf ears.
It didn't matter. I was there, so then they treated me like I was guilty, so I was just there. It wasn't there wasn't any distinction.
Yeah, there is no ear.
There is no. Oh, she's really innocent. We know she's innocent.
We'll help you.
Yeah. No, everyone was there to help you.
Yeah, yeah.
So they were trying to basically, when you're new in prison, you're like a mark. Everybody's trying to turn you out, whatever.
Yeah.
To whatever drugs there are there, and homosexuality is just that's the life there.
Sure.
Everyone there is homosexual. It's not. You don't. It's just part of the society inside in prison. It's they say gay for the stay. Well, it's there. It's just
they're staying a while.
They're staying. You're staying. You're here. This is it.
Yeah.
So it was a whole new life, a whole different thing. And I knew that God had me. I knew I was his. I wasn't afraid anymore. Within 2 weeks, I had a job working in graphic arts. And I was sitting in the graphic arts, and they gave me an X-Acto knife, and I was cutting.
Really?
Yes. 2 weeks after.
Isn't that something?
Isn't that something? Yeah.
An X-Acto knife, of all things.
In graphic arts, I was cutting pictures out and cutting and pasting, and
wow.
Yeah, 2 weeks after I was in prison, so it was like,
guilty for murdering somebody, with a knife.
With a knife.
Wow, that's crazy.
Doesn't even make sense in any book,
So then. Yeah, what happens?
So then
Obviously, you're sitting here.
I started my life as a Christian. I just started to walk like a Christian, be a Christian, act like a Christian. When we're standing in line in the cafeteria, we could have pop, to drink, and people would come up and say, give me a pop, and I had to say, no, it's stealing.
Yeah,
stuff like that, little stuff. I started to give my pay away to other people. I bought things for people that didn't have things. I started to go to Bible studies and teach and learn and listen, and God was working inside my heart. Now, I don't know if I mentioned I was abused as a child by an elderly family member, and this had been something that had been with me my whole life and had affected how I reacted to things. It was I had a shame-based personality, and shame and guilt look an awful lot alike. So, that kind of personality, victim type of personality, is someone easy that the police could manipulate. I just felt like my history had come to that point where it determined my path. The Lord worked with me through many, many different things. The first and biggest thing that he worked with me was forgiveness. I had to forgive my abusers. I had to forgive the people that put me in there. I had to forgive the police officer. I had to forgive my terrible lawyer. I had to forgive every day the officers that treated me bad. I had to forgive the people that were mean to me, the people that... It was just a never-ending thing. Just really what life is like. You know, if you're not driving in traffic and forgiving people,
Yeah. I mean,
then you're
especially
carrying
with
all
so
that
much,
inside of you.
so much injustice too. You had a choice. You can either live bitter,
Okay, so I could
and miserable.
live bitter, and for about 2 or 3 years I did, which ended. I ended up in the hospital with a heart attack. They did a angioplasty.
Okay.
The femoral
balloon,
artery that
yeah.
and my heart was fine. They didn't find anything. They didn't need a stent or anything like that. But I was still having chest pains. I'd go to a new room and my bunkie would be a drug dealer, and I was like, it was just stressful.
Sure.
My life was just stressful. What happened was I've lost my train of thought now. Sorry.
Well, so you were talking about forgiveness and for the first couple
basically,
years, you were
how he
miserable.
brought this home to me was there was a count time, and you had to be on your bunk during count. And during this time, you couldn't get off your bunk and you couldn't leave your room. And if for some reason count didn't go well, it could be an hour, it could be 2 hours, it could be all day. Well, after an hour, I had to go to the bathroom. And so I got up and I went out to the outside of my room, and the officer was down, and she said, "It's count time, go back to your bunk." I said, "I have to go to the bathroom." She said, "It's count time, go back to your bunk." I said, "I have to go to the bathroom." And I turned and I walked and I went to the bathroom. I'm just misdefiant here, right?
Yeah.
So, number one, they charged me with escape because it's during count time. And number two, disobeying a direct order. So I got a ticket, and this was how God taught me about forgiveness. So he was just at that point teaching me what it is to forgive. When you have to forgive somebody is wrong. You know that person. I knew that officer was wrong. She was wrong. I had to go to the bathroom. I'm a human being. She was wrong. And the Lord told me to forgive her. And this is how I learned how to forgive. He said that you don't have to feel it. You don't have to feel forgiveness. You do it as an act of love to me. Like, I forgive you.
Yeah.
You forgive because it says so in my word, not because you feel it. The feelings will come later. The feelings will come later. Believe me. I'll let you feel it later. Right now, you forgive with your heart.
Yeah, be obedient.
You just be obedient and forgive. And so that's what I did. I forgave her. And I got found guilty. They dropped one of the tickets, the escape, because that would keep you in prison forever. I mean, if you had an escape on you, any chance of getting out would be lost.
Yeah.
So they disobeying a direct order. I got that one. So I did disobey a direct order. So I took that one, and I did a week of detention or something. But I forgave her, and it wasn't even a month later. She was arrested for bringing drugs into the prison.
Really?
She ended up in prison. So God taught me a big, big lesson.
Yeah.
I am God.
Yeah.
I will bring vindication.
Yeah.
I will do it. You don't have to.
Wow.
So that was how I learned, and it was a good lesson, because I never once questioned forgiveness again, ever, because now it's just what I do. People wrong you every day. If you're standing, at a light, and somebody, you have to forgive that person. You carry that around in you, and that unforgiveness turns against you. It turns your body. utilizes that by breaking down,
Yeah.
your heart.
Yeah. Stress causes,
Stress. Yeah.
more physical ailment than
Yes.
virtually anything.
Yes. So,
So now by this time you're in there for a few years. You're
yep.
starting to walk with the Lord. You're learning to forgive, things like that. I mean,
Yep.
what ends up happening?
I lost my appeal after 2 years.
Okay, so you're appealing
I
it.
lost my appeal, and that just it was cemented it. Lord, I remember losing my appeal, going up to the building, which is the administration building where the warden and everybody are. That's where you get your legal mail, and I got it, and I walked back, and it was denied. My appeal was denied, and I couldn't understand it. But there was a paragraph in the very first page of the appeal from the answer of the appeal from the prosecutor that said a person had come forward to say that they heard me say that I.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, which was total malarkey.
Yeah.
It was untrue. But that sentence, that paragraph, stayed in every single appeal.
Wow.
And never.
When did they say that you in prison? You're talking about that they said that you said that, or before you went to prison?
I don't really know. Someone in the courthouse had come forward and said that they had overheard me, and this person never identified themselves. It was just part of my appeal. It was a sentence they put on there to clinch it. So
yeah, so probably till that point
I was hoping.
Yeah,
I was thinking, they're going to know. They're going to know this is wrong. So I threw myself on the ground and I told God that if he didn't do something, I would spend the rest of my life there. And that one day in his courts was better than 1,000 elsewhere. That my life in prison was better than it ever was. That I was happier. I was more fulfilled. I mean, losing my appeal was devastating.
Sure.
I don't want to say it was easy. That was just the clincher that I was going to be there the rest of my life, unless God did something. And at this point, my dad had sold my house, and all of the money went to my appeal lawyer.
Oh, wow.
So all the money, she got all the money and did nothing. Wow. So I had no money. I was in prison for life with no parole, and that was it. Unless God stepped forward. And so I was watching this movie with Jeremy Irons about Leon Dershowitz. It was his story.
Oh,
yeah. And I said to my dad, maybe you should go and talk to him. Mm-hmm. My dad was just, I was his favorite.
Yeah.
So he and my other sisters went to Boston, to Harvard,
really?
With my box of papers, court papers and legal papers, and they went to Leon Dershowitz's office, and he told them he couldn't take my case. Basically, he was the best appellate lawyer in the United States, so he was on OJ's team.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So at that point, I just, I just said, Lord, I give up. I'm done trying to do what I can do. I can't do anything else. There's nothing I can do. I'm yours. I'm here. Use me however you will. And he did. He used me to be with other people that needed help, needed to speak or talk or talk about God. Bible studies. We did Bible studies in the housing units. I was on the warden's forum. I spoke with the warden on a monthly basis. Yeah, we went to each unit had 2 people that went to the warden's forum, and we met with her each month and discussed problems. So I was active. I decided to bloom where I was planted. Basically, I was going to take whatever I could from them, and they weren't going to take from me.
Yeah.
So I went to college. I got an associate's degree. They brought a dental lab to the women's prison, and I had experience in a dental office. So I went and I joined that. It was a vocational program. I learned to make dentures. I worked every day. And when I went to work, my boss treated me like I was at work, not
Yeah.
like I was in prison. So God did whatever he could do to make my
Yeah.
life amazing. I
Wow.
mean, one day I got a Dove bar, ice cream. It was in prison. You got a Dove bar? How?
Yeah.
I can't explain it. I got one. It was from God. God blessed me.
Wow.
He blessed me daily at some point. I was blessed and blessed and blessed. My family would come and visit me, and I would bless them. It wasn't like they were coming to cheer me up. I was cheering them up. I was lifting them up. I was talking to them about the Lord.
Yeah.
I was talking to them about grace. At that point, my mom thought grace was a state of grace, the Catholic
Yeah.
state of grace. Like, no, Mom, it's not grace.
Yeah.
Yeah, grace is unmerited favor.
So what ended up happening then? So now you're in their years.
I decided I would get a Christian volunteer to come and visit me. So I called.
Okay.
Chuck Colson had a ministry where he had volunteers would go into the prisons and meet with people. And I said, okay, I'll try that. I'd like a Christian volunteer. And so this lady was driving by the prison. She lived in Plymouth. Her husband and her were there from Germany. He worked at Bosch, and she, was a housewife. So she decided, I'm going to go. She was a Christian. I'm going to go and volunteer. So she was my first visit.
Okay.
And we talked, and she couldn't believe I was in prison, that I had even been accused of anything this horrific. So right away, she knew, just by speaking to me, by talking with me, that there was no way that I could do this. So she took a piece of paper with the facts of my case, the basic facts, just the basics, and gave it to her next door neighbor, who was a student at U of M in the law school. And he took it to his professor. And she came to visit me the next week.
Wow.
Her name is Andrea Lyon, and she was a professor of law at U of M. And basically, the Innocence Project started from her and her cohort, Bridget McCormick, who later ended up being on the Supreme Court of Michigan. So these two women, and basically Andrea Lyon, she came to visit me, and excuse me, sorry.
You're good.
She took my court papers, and it's a box, She carried them out and said, I just don't think that the students can take your case, but I'm going to read your transcripts. And because a friend of mine who is a nun came to me and asked me if I would look at this case, I'm going to look at it myself. And if there's anything I can do to help you, I will. And as it turned out, a week later, her and about 7 of her students came with her and said, not only am I going to take your case, but my students are going to take your case.
Wow.
So they did the very first investigation ever done on my case, ever. And this was already, I don't know how many years I'd been in there at that point. But all of a sudden, they went to the crime scene. They went to my neighbors. I had an interview with my son's vocational counselor at his school, at his middle school, because he was kicked out of school that day. I had to take him back to school and get him back in. And her and I met that morning. No one had interviewed her. No one had said anything about what my state was after, allegedly murdering someone a couple hours earlier. I came in there and I, spoke with his counselor and got him back into classes, and I was fine. And, went on to work. They went to my work people. They went and interviewed my stalker, which was a little creepy for them. But these were students, law students, who did this investigation. And not only that, she got the interest of journalism students who came and did an interview with me. And my case was put into the Trading Times, which was just a little paper, but guess what? Everybody saw it.
Yeah.
And I got some news action, which really helped my case. And at this point, they filed, they had to go through the whole state of Michigan appellate process.
Yeah,
and
because
she
you had
said-
already filed an appeal. So
yeah,
you had
so
to,
this was the habeas corpus, and this was something different. This was your final appeal. So this had to go through all the lower courts, and it had to be denied in every court, which it was. And she expected that, since it had already been denied once. There wasn't going to be any surprises. But those students found over 2,000 pieces of evidence that were never turned over to me.
wow.
They found, they found out that my stalker had failed a polygraph.
Really?
They found out that there was just a ton of stuff, one thing after another. All this evidence that came forward that they found. So they filed in the federal court, and I went before a magistrate, and I remember praying that there's a
And
point
what
in
did
here.
they go before the federal court for?
This is the habeas corpus. This is the final appeal. So they go, once you have lost in the Michigan Supreme Court, then you can go to the federal court.
Okay.
And so once they got to the federal court, then it was given to a magistrate, and then he gave it to Judge Godola, who was the guy that finally
And Judge
gave us a new
Godola,
trial.
yeah, he was where?
He was in
Judge-
Flint.
Yeah, he was a federal judge.
He was a federal
Yeah.
judge.
Okay.
So I went to court, and I remember sitting in this car going to court. I didn't know any of you guys then, but it was a sunny morning, and it was frost on the window of the van I was in. It was like a station wagon, and it was a rainbow and in the rainbow was a cross. And I thought, oh, he's got this.
Yeah.
I don't have to worry. He's got this. And so we went to this hearing, and Judge Godola was like a gift from God. I could tell that he believed me. I got up on the stand for the first time. I spoke about God. He said, "Well, how do we know that you're not just a jailhouse religion?" I mean, I talked, and I gave my testimony basically on the stand, and that I knew that God had done this for me, that I was innocent, and the judge believed me. He believed that I was innocent, so he gave me a new trial. My sister put her house up for a bond, because then I needed a bigger bond, right?
Yeah. So at that point, he did say you'd get a new trial.
I get a
and
new
then
trial.
you got this bond.
I got a bond
for the new trial.
for the new trial, and I was released. Now I was supposed to go home the first day that I got it, and as it turned out, something happened. I couldn't go home.
Oh wow.
And I was like devastated. I was like sitting in my chair with my bags packed.
Because how long you'd been locked up? Like 7 years.
7 years. Yeah, maybe 9.
Oh jeez. Yeah, they all start to
This
roll
was
in.
2002. So
9
I
years.
had been locked up 9 years. So then the next day it came through. My sister got her house for this bond, and they got it, and they came and got me, and it was like, whew, hallelujah. My whole family was waiting out there in the waiting room. As I walked out, the warden took me aside into her office, and we sat down, and she said, I have been so proud of you. I have watched you your entire time here. She said that you are an honor to know. So she gave me her best and hoped that my new trial went well, and that really touched me. It was, you think nobody's watching,
right?
but people are watching your walk. People are watching, and this showed me. And so, I got out, and I was out about, I don't know, few weeks, and I didn't know what to do. I had started my degree, my bachelor's in there, and then they took the college out of the prison, so we had to stop. So they didn't want to pay for prisoners going to college when
Right.
Michigan's kids weren't going to college for
Sure.
free. So I decided to go back to college. So I got a student loan and I went back to Spring Arbor, which is where I started. And they had a satellite in Troy, and I went there. And one of my professors was a friend of Pam Clark at Grace Centers. And I asked if she would call and see, because I remember laying on the yard and listening to Pastor Clark
Oh, yeah.
talk about the women and the children. And I thought, Lord, if I ever get out of here, I'm going to go there. I'm going to help those women. I'm going to help those children. And so she called Pam Clark, and I got an interview and started my internship.
Yeah.
I started as an RA in the women's department, working the midnight shift.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, Linda, right?
Yeah,
Who
Linda Gutierrez,
still
yes.
works at Grace
Yeah,
Center,
she's
so-
still there. So yeah, she was my professor at Spring Arbor. So I graduated, and then once I graduated, Miss Pam put me in as a case manager, and I started as a case manager there. And I worked. Well, the court system had we went to Cincinnati for that appeal, that they had appealed this new trial that the judge had given me.
Oh yeah, yeah.
They
So the
appealed it.
state was.
So the state,
Yeah, who was
the
arguing
prosecutor.
against the state
The
prosecutor?
state prosecutor was arguing against this, and that they thought that I did not deserve a new trial, that, blah, blah, blah. So we went to court up there. And as it turned out, because my very first attorney, who got all the money, the only lawyer that had ever been paid, right, did something wrong. She didn't put anything in the record, and if it's not in the record, you can't bring it up on appeal.
Okay.
And because of that technicality, I had to return to prison for the rest of my life.
Yeah. So that was. Yeah. So, okay.
Yeah, hard to understand.
Well, so yeah, I remember going.
Yes,
To Flint
yes.
with you guys.
So Judge Godola.
That was in front of Judge Godola.
So
you were
Judge
still
Godola,
out.
who was the one that had given me the new trial,
Yeah.
excuse me, we had gone before him, and he kept me out.
Yeah. He's the one that kept you out.
He kept me out for
while this
4
whole-
years.
Yeah.
As
Yeah, so
long
it
as
was-
he possibly could. And then he had a hearing.
Even
and
after
even after the appeal
the Cincinnati
had been lost.
deal.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
I gotcha.
So then he called us all in there for a hearing, and I didn't understand really at that time what the hearing was for. But he put on the record that this was the worst travesty
Yeah. That's the one I was at. I
that
remember
he
him
had
saying
ever
that.
seen in his life. 19 years on the federal bench. He had never seen a worse travesty than this, and that I was indeed innocent. And because of a technicality, his heart was saddened that he had to send me back to prison.
Yeah. And so, but you didn't have to go that day.
No,
He told you what?
No.
You had 30 days or something
yeah,
to turn
I had-
yourself in.
Yes.
And
So-
this is what I remember. So here you are, you're sentenced to prison for the rest of your life. Lose on appeals.
Yes.
And some miracle comes through. Well, first of all, you got like you had said earlier, you got a miracle that you were let out on bond
Yes.
as being
Yes.
charged.
Yes.
And then you get let out after you're already convicted in prison.
Yeah.
And you're out for 4 years.
4
You're working at
years.
Grace this
Working
whole
at
time. I mean,
Right.
these were all just stories
Just-
that I
yes.
remember you telling me.
Yeah.
And then, but yeah, so then we go up to Flint. He tells you he has to revoke your bond, basically.
Right.
And now you have to go turn yourself in.
Right.
And not just like for a new trial. You had to go turn yourself
I
in
had
for
to
the
turn
rest of
myself
your
in
life.
for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
So my attorney at this point, Andrea Lyon, is living in Chicago. So she drives to Michigan just to walk me back into prison.
Mm-hmm.
That's what kind of person she was. She was there for me. She turned to me and she said, "I will never give up on you, never." So they put together, in hopes that the governor would give me a commutation. She put together a huge binder all the women that were my clients here at Grace Centers, all the staff, all my family, the people that I knew. There were videos of me. There were videos of the women. It was this big, huge thing. Trying to get a commutation and
before you went back
before
in.
I went back. So I was in Time magazine. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, I mean, I remember. I don't know if I ever.
It was a big thing.
I do remember the day you.
Yes.
Because I remember you were at Grace.
Yes.
And I remember you.
Yes.
I mean.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember saying to Amber that I wouldn't go.
I know. Most people.
Well, can't we do something?
Most people that were my friends said, look, I can get you to Mexico.
Yeah.
I can get you to Cuba. I can get you to Europe. They will never find you.
Right.
My brothers, everyone, no one thought I should go back.
I just remember that being like.
This was my faith right here.
Yeah, like that was the greatest act of faith.
Either I
ever
believed
seen.
God or I didn't believe him. You know, if I walked away and I hid out, which I could have easily done, there was no guards guarding me.
Right.
I mean, it would have just been, simple, just disappear. But I would never see my grandchildren again.
Right.
I would never see my kids.
It's amazing the way God, works, gives you, faith, gives you the grace that you need at a particular time.
I didn't have that much. I mean, I was a mess, but God gave me the strength. I remember driving over to my son's house, and we were all going to go to Max and Irma's, which was across the street from the prison, and have lunch there before, my last good meal, right? Yeah. The last supper. So as I'm driving over there, Casting Crowns came on, the one about the storm. Yeah. And I remember singing that at the top of my lungs on my way to, to turn myself in for life, it was the only thing that I could do was just throw myself on his mercy and just, but I have to tell you that one of the things that led me back into prison, which was this is the hard thing to understand how, I'm a human being. I fell in love with one of the mission men. And so there I was back in my old routine.
Okay.
A man, got in there. I was in sin. And one of the things that I know that I've learned in the Bible is you can't teach other people. You can't lead other people if you're in sin. Yeah. The Lord will. Yeah. Yeah.
It doesn't work.
That doesn't work ever. So this to me was God chastising me from my sin. Yeah. And it was not, I understood it. it. And I went back and I didn't feel like it was forever.
Yeah, obviously you had the faith that this would still...
I still had faith that this was going to turn out. Somehow, some way God was going to do this. I had enough trust, and I trusted him with my life. That's just the point you have to get to, where you trust him with every part of your life. You just trust him. And, now that I've been out for 17 years, do I still do that? I wish I did it as well as I did back then.
Yeah, I know.
I look back at those...
God gives us, he gives us faith, the grace and faith at the time.
Yeah, that we need.
So when you went back in there, Adrian, right? Did you say her name's Adrian, right? Your lawyer?
Oh, Andrea.
Yeah.
Andrea Lyon.
She drove you back in. She walked you back in. She walked you back in.
Yes.
Said that she'd keep fighting for you.
Yes. She looked at me and said, I will never give up, ever. So I walked back in.
Yeah, so what happens then?
Something happened to my brain, and I couldn't remember anyone's name.
Oh, yeah.
The trauma of it was too much.
Yeah.
And these were people that I had spent 9 years with. I couldn't remember one person's name. So, I told one of my good friends that that this was happening, and if I ever jab you, to say the person's name because I don't remember anyone. It was like, and still I don't remember names. I mean, unless I deal with a person on a daily, weekly basis, their name's gone. It's like, and it doesn't come back. It's like, there's, I don't think of it.
So Andrea and the team, they start fighting again for a new trial.
They started fighting. No, there was no new trial anymore.
They couldn't. That
Everything
was just
was
totally
exhausted.
they'd gone to the federal appeals court.
That they could do. There was no trial. There was no way to get back into the courts ever again. This was it. This was a technicality that was for the rest of my life. So the only possibility was the governor.
Right.
And at this point, it was on. Poor Governor Granholm. She heard about me from everybody. She had, my aunt lived in California, knew her mother. I mean, she heard about it from people who she had it coming at her from everywhere. My name, my name. And so finally, I got a notice that the parole board.
Yeah, how long was it?
It was almost 2 years.
2 years, yeah.
So every 10 years, you get a parole hearing if you're a lifer.
Okay.
They just call you up there and say, "How you doing? You good? Go back to your cell." Just check on you. Just to say that they had a hearing. So that's what I assumed that's what this was. So I got up there, and on it was a man, one man was at this hearing, and he had this binder on his desk that they had been working on. So he said, we're looking at this. We're trying to determine what's going to happen, and we think you would be a good candidate for a commutation from the governor. So it was, this was like, what?
Yeah.
This was God working. This was him.
And then what? They set up some.
Then there was a hearing, remember?
Yeah, there was a hearing. Yeah.
We had a hearing with the parole board
That
and
was
the
with the
attorney
parole
general.
board.
And it was in a room probably this big. It was like, it was
a very
like a very small room.
Mm-hmm.
It was an ice storm going on. It was in January or December or something like that. And Pastor Clark, Darren, everybody from Grace Centers came. People that I worked with, all my family was there. Funny, nobody from the victim's family came. No one even objected to anything. Nothing was ever said with those regards, So there was no opposition. The attorney general pummeled me with questions for hours. What seemed like 8 hours of questioning. It was almost like they were retrying the case in this room. Finally, at the end, they asked if people wanted to say anything. So some people got up and said. Then Pastor Clark got up, and he gave the attorney general the wherewithal. He said,
I remember that.
I'm a federal judge, knows that she is innocent, and you, attorney general, have the audacity to question. So it was quite a hearing. It was like, I couldn't believe it. I felt like, we danced with them. It was like it was like a dance we had to do. Yeah. So it was. I knew that something would happen. I knew it would. I just felt it. I knew it.
Yeah. And then how long after that did you?
It was July the 25th. So this was in December.
Yeah.
So it took all those months. But during that time, I had to have a mental evaluation done, a physical evaluation. So I knew things were happening. I felt something was in the works. I knew it. My attorney said, don't get your hopes built. But then she said, get your hopes built. Yeah. She said, I'm cautiously optimistic. That's how she'd put it. Which to me was, yes. I thought this is going to happen. Wow. It was a time when the prisons were overcrowded, and they were looking for ways to, let some people go that weren't
This was like back what, 07?
02.
No,
this was
when you went back. 06 or 07.
I went back in 06. I got out
Yeah.
in '08.
Oh, wait,
So,
yeah.
so
This was July of
so
08.
this I got out in September of '08. So this was July of '08.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So how did you learn?
I
mean,
was
obviously.
on the yard.
Mm-hmm.
I was outside with my friends, and we're sitting on a blanket out on the yard, and I see this sergeant walking across with two guards, and usually that means they're taking somebody
Mm-hmm.
to segregation. They're going to come out, pick someone up, take them off in handcuffs. And she walked up to me, and she was smiling. And I said, "Is this good news?" And she said, "It's really good news." She goes, "You have to walk with me to the warden's office."
Wow.
So we walked, and as I'm walking, people are cheering.
Really?
Cheering, yes, it was amazing. We walked to the warden's office. She was on the phone because she wasn't there, but she gave me the news that the governor had granted a commutation, that I would be released in September. So it was another
2 months.
2 months. So waiting
Wow.
is my game. Waiting is my game.
Yeah.
So
Talk about
I know how to
patience
wait.
and faith. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was an amazing homecoming. I believe I came to church that night.
Mm-hmm.
Pastor Clark and I sat up on the
Yeah, I remember that.
and we had a big a discussion just like this.
Yeah.
You know, we talked about what had happened and all the different things and how amazing it was. And
Yeah, I don't know if you knew I knew you'd learned then. We probably told you in letters, but
that
yeah,
they had been praying.
well, we did, and we
Yeah.
took your chair that you
Yes.
sat in every week,
And
you know,
put
at
it up
church.
next
And
to
we
the
put it-
podium.
Yeah, we put it up on
And then
the
someone knitted a
platform.
shawl and put
Yeah.
that up there.
Yeah.
And I still sit in the same seat.
Yeah.
So yeah. So yeah, it was, and then my husband, Dave, started coming to Grace Centers
Yeah.
during that time that I was, that the church was praying for me. And
Yeah.
he thought I was like this little old black lady. He says, your name just didn't sound.
Yeah.
He says, "I thought we were praying for this little black lady."
Yeah,
that was
didn't
gonna
he never seen
get
you?
released from
Right.
prison. So I got out, and he came to hear my testimony.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next time I gave my testimony, he was there again.
Yeah.
And every time he would be in line to shake my hand afterwards.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he came and he asked me out at the New Year's Eve party.
Okay.
And I was not going to fall back into sin again.
Yeah.
This is something I had
Yeah.
learned my lesson. So 2 weeks later we were married.
Yeah, was it that quick?
Yeah, it was like we
Praise
got
the Lord.
engaged on February the 14th and we got married on
Yeah.
the 20th.
So you guys have been married that long?
Yeah, almost
Wow.
17 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Praise the Lord.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, what
Not
an
an
incredible
easy
story.
time, I might say.
Right. I mean, so what do you, I mean, I always think of your story. As I mentioned earlier, I vividly
Yeah.
on that day that you had to turn yourself back in,
Yeah.
it just
How do you do that?
Yes, I can remember. I couldn't. I just remember telling him I couldn't do that. I couldn't, and I wouldn't. And I feel I just want to make sure she knows she doesn't have to. I mean, that's, here I am as a
And so
church
many
leader.
people came and said that to me.
Yeah.
was
And
like-
so like your story just speaks to me of just an abundance of faith. And what do you believe? I mean, I'm sure there are people out there listening, watching right now that, I mean, just the story in itself
Yeah.
is crazy,
Yeah.
how God continued to show up in these different ways. I'm sure there are people that, I can confidently say there are people in prison that are innocent too, and they're not
Absolutely.
going to ever get out,
Absolutely.
and
I mean, I know people that are still there.
right. Yeah. And so what do you feel like the message is to others in all that?
That Jesus Christ is a light in the darkness, no matter where you are.
Yeah.
That no matter where you are, he can build your life up to mean something,
Yeah.
even when to everyone else it has no meaning at all. My life had meaning.
Even in prison,
Even-
even when you were in there for something you didn't do.
The worst of the worst.
Mm-hmm.
My life had meaning. I had purpose. He gave me that. I didn't have it on my own.
Yeah. Forgiveness, faith.
Forgiveness, faith, just
Yeah. What did the Apostle Paul says? I have found the way to be content
yes,
in
in
any
all
given
things.
situation. Yeah.
In all
And
things.
yeah, whether he was in prison, whether he was
Right.
beaten,
Right.
persecuted.
I mean, I've
And
practically had the doors open in the middle of the night, basically. How did I get a bond? How?
it's stories like that that really challenge me, and I'm sure it does others if you think through it, that if you are able to forgive, then who am I to not, if you were able to do, like, what excuse do I have to not forgive this person?
It comes back on me because we still don't know who did this.
Right.
That eventually one day when,
Well, yeah, because
when I'm with the Lord, I'll find out what happened.
even from the police
I
perspective,
spent 4 years on bond.
well, yeah, and you were commuted, so
My sentence was commuted, so I was not pardoned.
right. So as far as they're concerned,
Yeah.
you still did it.
Yeah.
And
right. They're
so they're not looking.
They never
for
looked
anybody.
for anyone else. There was never any discussion even.
Yeah.
They never apologized. Even the police officer that started the snowball rolling down the hill
Yeah.
never apologized to me. Never, and I don't expect any apologies because I've lived an amazing life. How many can say?
And what do we really deserve? Everything short of hell is grace, right?
Exactly.
But
I'm a
it's
sinner.
easy to say it. It's easy to preach it.
is.
It's another thing to live it,
Yeah. And I don't want to make light of any of this time. This was hard time.
Yeah.
This was hard time. This was, one day we woke up and they took all our clothes away and gave us uniforms. How do you get through that?
Right.
One day they came in the middle of the night and swarmed the housing unit with dogs, sniffing dogs at 3 a.m.
Yeah.
Officers were abusing women right and left. They could walk into the shower anytime they felt. Big lawsuit came down from that.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
Yeah. It's anything else you want to share with people?
just, what? I had Grace Centers of Hope had my back. I will never, never forget. They were Pastor Clark, Miss Pam, you, Amber, you were there with me.
Yeah.
It was like, they sent me money for a coat. I
Yeah.
I can never repay that. I can never thank God enough.
Yeah.
I'm just so inadequate. Even giving my testimony, I'm not good at it. I just feel
I'd say it was pretty good,
every
yeah.
time I do it, I think, oh, I could have said this, should have said that.
Yeah. It's
But
the just of it, just
yeah.
it really challenges us to faith, I think.
I just
That
think giving God glory,
giving
is,
up excuses.
Yeah,
No longer like all of my excuses. So many others. I think probably everybody that's listening, all of our excuses for why we think what we blame or why we can or can't do this or whatever, it just kind of shrinks compared to it. And so I think it's just very challenging that, God has given us everything that we need to live for him.
absolutely.
And to trust him, and doesn't mean it's going to work out the way we want, but
Or
he
when
will
we
be
want.
he'll be there in the midst of it and is able to bring life even in the deadness of.
If I would have had my
wherever we
way, it would have been over in 2 weeks.
are. Right, or never gone. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming in
Thanks for
and
letting me
sharing your
come.
story.
It was really fun.
For anybody who's listening, I'm sure that Kylleen would be more than happy to talk to you, or
Yeah.
feel free to comment in this feed, or you can always call us at 855-HELP-GCH. We can help you get in touch with her. If you want to learn more about Grace Centers of Hope, you can go to gracecentersofhope.org, or feel free to come to our church. You can meet Kylleen at church.
There isn't a better organization in the country. There isn't a better organization that does more for the human beings that are just suffering than Grace Centers of Hope. So,
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that.
yeah.
We couldn't do it without the support of of people like yourself and so many others. If you want to learn about our church, go to gracegospelfellowship.org or come visit us on Sundays. We're going to have another service at 9:15 or 11 a.m. So come see us. Thanks.